I honestly had to Google how to focus with it because I had no idea when I looked through the rangefinder what the hell I was looking at. And it was, I honestly was like, wow, what, like, is this broken? Is it, what am I doing? And I Googled it and, and then I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace, and you guys know how much I love Squarespace. In fact, I use it for my own website, adamlerner.net. If you guys want to save 10% on your Squarespace and domain, use the code ADAM at checkout, ADAM, and you'll save 10%. All right, guys, here we are. We are doing another episode of the Brooklyn PhotoWorks ISO 320 podcast, and today we have fellow Leica shooter, Jay Cassario, fellow Jersey boy, hailing to us from what looks to be a log cabin sub-basement shelter. And we're also being treated to Jay's debut run with his beautiful new podcasting mic. So Jay, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome.
It's nice to get out of the house for a little bit. see some new faces, so this is good.
Yeah. We're socializing without actually having to go anywhere. There's no high fives,
I mean, we could, but yeah, we'll save that. I don't know if anybody.
Yeah, what's
you don't need to high five.
I think the high five is kind of over.
I think it is. I think it's done.
Yeah.
Touching in general.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a whole different world out there.
We'll adapt, maybe, eventually.
Well, let's dig in, man. I'm on your website, and there's a Leica in your hand whenever there's a picture of you. What is it that drew you to being a Leica shooter? Because we're not what I would consider to be the norm, but there's definitely
especially in the wedding world.
Yeah, a lot of worlds.
True. Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm a doctor, and then on the weekends I play a lawyer. And when I wanted to get into photography, I had heard that that's the camera that doctors and lawyers use. Mm. And there really wasn't anything else. So,
are you also a dentist?
I'm a dentist. Well, every Tuesday, every other Tuesday.
You and my mom. That's perfect.
That's right.
So, I said, this seems to be the camera that everybody says is for me. So I bought it and went with it, and now I shoot weddings with it. Yeah, no. Actually, no, it's funny. Somebody gave me one to I read a review on, I think 4 years ago. And I honestly had to Google how to focus with it because I had no idea when I looked through the rangefinder what the hell I was looking at. And it was, I honestly was like, wow, what, is this broken? Is it, what am I doing? And I Googled it and, and then I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I, looking at the price of it, I'm like, there's no way I can afford this. And at the time I was looking to buy a new D4, I think it was. I was shooting Nikon at the time. I took it on vacation. It was the M9. I took it on vacation with my family to Maine, and just shooting that all week, it was like, wow, this is like a whole new world. I mean, it really, something about it just drew me into it. The focusing, the way that you're not looking through the lens. Every lens I used, it was the same. I'm looking through a little window. It's not fast. It's slow. The light had to be good. With an M9, that was the first full frame one they came out with. The ISO is garbage. So it was, I had to make sure the light was good. But I had a blast shooting it. And at the time, I was kind of getting burnt out with, it was, should I spend $6,000 or $7,000 on a D5? That's huge. I didn't like carrying it around for weddings. But then at the same time, I'm like, can I shoot this at weddings? And you know what? I got home and it was like, I couldn't send it back. And it was a loaner, so I sent it back, and then I ended up buying one, I think 2 days later. And then the rest is history, man. I fell in love with it. It just changed how I shot, how I saw things, how I composed things. And, I had the mentality of everything I had heard where this is not a camera that real photographers or professionals use. This is like an old man's collector's item, and doctors and lawyers use it. And here I was, addicted to it. And yeah, I just sold, I had an M all the way up until a couple months ago. So for the past 4 years, and I just sold it basically to make sure I can feed my family with this coronavirus, because I had a $10,000 camera kit sitting on my desk I wasn't using. But I guarantee I'll buy another one within the next few months if this thing ever goes away.
I mean, the thing that's neat about Leica gear is that Leica gear's, it's a commodity. I mean, what is it? An 11-year-old M9 in good shape, $2,000 to $3,000, and that's remarkable. I mean, a 10-year-old Nikon, Canon, any of that, don't even get it near me.
No, you're right.
An M9 is still. I mean, look, Daniel and I have gone on. And we could get started again. I'm always willing to just go crazy.
Jump in. So, Jay, my entree into Leica was an M9 as well. It was actually the M8 was loaned to me by my local shop, and I was hooked. I did what I had to do to get an M9, and that I was still with my DSLR, still shooting a Canon 7D. I was still as like my intermediate stage. I was touring with my band, so it wasn't my profession. But I had the M9 with me and the 75 Summicron just glued to that lens for years. I had the 35, and it just didn't, I was just into tight portraits, and I just kept that 75 on the M9 for, I'd say 5 years, 6 years. And then I got into the whole Sony craze of IAF and making things easier, and I saw it sitting on my desk. I sold it just to get some more gear, and recently I just bought an M9P that needed a sensor overhaul, where Adam and I were in the same boat. We went to Leica together to get the sensor replaced.
We both rescued a couple of M9s that needed sensors.
Adam got his for $600.
So I'm not publishing that information.
Well, that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to go the same route.
What's the difference?
What do you mean? What's the difference?
What's the difference when you got a good deal?
Okay, I got a good deal.
You got a good deal, and you had to anyway.
I put $1,600 in, and now
you want to edit it out. You can edit it out. It's more work for you.
I'm going to post all the prices of your acquisitions.
And so Jay was telling me, he texted me yesterday. It's probably like like you're starting an ignition, you're starting a fire. When he's like, "Have you ever shot with an M monochrome body?" And I was like, "Let's talk tomorrow." So I had a GFX system that I traded for the 246 last August, and I absolutely love what I got from it, because I would shoot everything black and white if I could, right? And I would just do conversions, and that's all I knew. And the blacks and the grays, not even the blacks on the 246, just the grayscale that I never understood until I shot with it.
You got a pretty good understanding going on up on the dome.
What do you mean?
The grayscale.
Yeah.
Hey, see that right there?
At least it's there. I don't know if it's going away. Is it going away?
Oh boy!
I don't have any scale.
Is that zero?
That's zero.
You get one of those.
He's got it high and tight. Like
you get one of those new. Everyone's like trying to head shape. The skull. Yeah.
That's next on my list.
Yeah, that's get Instagram with that all the time.
Yeah.
So. And I've shot with the I had the M9M for a while, and right before all this went down, I got into the M10M, thinking if I wasn't really into it, I would sell it.
It's a great purchase to do right before a pandemic, because it's not like you have anything into it.
I wish we knew, ahead of time this was going to happen.
$8,500 camera, probably with tax, it was like $9,000.
No, I got mine for $400.
Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, and then you had to put $8,500 sensor in it. Yeah, no, I mean.
Anyway, so shooting weddings, I was in the same boat as EJ. I had a D4, D800, and my M9, and the whole time I'm like, can I? So then after my Sony, and I tried Fuji's, that didn't really do it for me. I was like, can I shoot weddings with only rangefinders? And I always had an autofocus camera with me, whether it's the SL for a time or the Q2. Now I have the CL, which I fucking love. what I get out of it. But yeah, I mean, I have an M10 at the 246, and those were my main cameras.
That's awesome, man. I mean, like I told you, I think I mentioned it, I don't run into too many photographers that shoot M's. And I've booked weddings from clients walking into a lot of the Leica stores and asking the guys that work there, like, hey, do you guys have any wedding photographers you can recommend who shoot M's? And they're Leica photographers, just as hobbyists who are getting married and they want somebody who shoots that gear. So I've actually booked, I think now 4 or 5 weddings from that, alone. And I've shot them strictly on M's, and, it's very documentary style, photojournalistic style. But, the rest of my weddings I up until I sold my M10P, I was shooting that along with the SL or the SL2, and then the Q2 as well. So yeah, man, it definitely it changed. The M changed a whole lot for me, which I know a lot of people who, dog Leica as the doctor and lawyer camera. They don't get it. It's so expensive. Every single one of those guys who I've known, I've been out, on trips with, and they're like, yeah, let me see that camera. It's, that expensive piece of shit you carry around. And, I let them try it. And every single one of them has bought their own now. And because it's literally something that you have to try to experience yourself, because just having somebody tell you like, yeah, this is worth, the amount of money that it is for this reason or that reason, you have to try it. It's one of those, and not everybody, it's not good enough for everybody, but I've seen it happen so many times where it's just, no, that's, you spent way too much money on that. Here, let me try it. And then a month later, they got their own. So
and then about 6 months later, they got a shot that was actually in focus.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember years and years ago, Daniel and I were working on a job together for some fashion company in the city. And both of us, we carry cameras everywhere we go, anytime we go anywhere. So even though I had my big professional rig, I might have even been shooting medium format for the client. I had a little compact Fuji, 100 series. I don't remember which. And we had they gave us an hour lunch break because I think we were waiting for a model or we were waiting for clothes, whatever. It was unusual, that we had this hour. So what did Daniel and I do? We're like, yeah, we're going to go do street shots because we don't want to sit around for an hour. It's a beautiful day. So I'm using my Fuji, and he's got this M9, and and he's like, yeah, try it out and pick it up, and I'm like, what the? And it was the same deal. I'd never.
What a douchebag. That's really what you thought.
Well, that was the first. That was what I thought when I first met Dan, and then I realized he's a nice guy with a douchebag camera. But
yeah, that's what everybody thought about me too.
He must be a doctor,
He must be.
I just knew that Dan was rich. But it's funny because I really had some difficulty focusing it, because I hadn't had the experience. And I think that's the true thing about anybody picking up a rangefinder, is that you really do need to spend some time with one, days if you can, or at least hours, days. And a great thing too is just to spend time with that body and one lens, and don't get yourself all confused with different focal lengths. Learn one focal length on the camera at a time. And that's essentially what I did. I just got a 50 and an M body, and I was freaking hooked,
It was the same with me. I went with a 52. Like Daniel, you said a 75. I had the 50 Summilux. That's all I had for, I think, 3 or 4 years. That was it. And, I finally bought a 24 millimeter Summilux, and I had that for a couple of years, and then I sold that. But right now, I still have the 50 millimeter Summilux for the SL that I'm going to throw on the 246 monochrome.
It's the M that you're using on the SL?
Yeah.
No.
Do you have you have the 246 as well?
No, I don't. It's coming in tomorrow. It's a loaner from B&H.
Oh, nice.
As much as I've done for Leica, and as much as I've been involved, and I teach classes for them and workshops, I've yet to have tried a monochrome camera.
I'm sorry. It's going to get real bad, real quick.
I know, man. My wife's going to kill me. She doesn't even know it's coming yet. So it's going to the door.
This is it.
Is it?
So I ordered this used, the little thumbs up, and it didn't have
is
a
it loose?
description, and it came silver instead of black. I know.
Now you got to know what to do. Sell that lens, get a silver lens, and you're good to go.
Yeah, now you're golden.
It's
Yeah.
funny because it's like brand new,
But
even though it was used.
I had
but
the 246. I got Adam to go to
I love this camera, by the
pick
way.
it up,
Yeah.
and then I got the M9M, and I sold my 246, and then he sold his 246 because the M9M it's like the M9 in that it's so temperamental, it's so slow.
Yeah.
Unless the conditions are just right. I mean, the ISO you can shoot up to
It's crazy. I mean,
6400.
you never even have to give it a consideration.
But
I mean,
the 246 is actually
see
like
that.
a live view practical.
but just the tones and
That's about the worst preview you can.
is it? It's terrible. For you. Anyway, whatever. I've got a bunch of 246 shot on my Instagram. If you
What is it? Man, I can't breathe.
you picked a bad day to stop sniffing glue, huh?
No, man, I know. I'm gonna go get some.
You can grab some water if you know.
Yeah, take your time, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, hold on. I got this blue cup right here.
Wait, Daniel just went under his desk.
So there's one Leica photographer that I've never met who his street photography just blows me away, man. It's Adam or Alan Schaller.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's all he shoots with, I think, is the 246.
I think he actually ended up moving into the M10M.
He might
He
have.
does, yeah.
But he shot most of that stuff. And interestingly, first of all, I think we all love his work. But he loves like really high contrasty stuff. And I've actually, with the 246, I've kind of gone that route. I like the more contrasty look with that sensor because I had the M9M, the original, the CCD version.
Yep.
And that is like the M9 in the sense that it's like, not that forgiving, but very different. And anyway, you're going to love the M246.
Yep.
You're going to have a blast with it.
I'm really curious because it's in my head. I know it's like, well, how am I going to like this camera? Just black and white. I mean, the same as everybody else who thinks like, why would I want to shoot with, a rangefinder? And in my head, I'm like, why would I shoot with an all black and white camera? But knowing the people that I know that, and respect as photographers who love this camera, I'm really looking forward to, at this point in my career, it's like, well, I'm looking forward to trying a camera that I've never tried before. And,
it's inspiring. I mean, to also go out and know, okay, I can only shoot black and white, or if I see, if I'm whatever I'm shooting, if I know I want to grab something in black and white, I'm not even thinking, well, I'll make that black and white later. I have my monochrome body and I take it with the monochrome.
And that's what I'm looking forward to, because I feel like it might change the way that, I mean, you guys can probably explain this better, but the way that you almost see things, a little bit differently, the same way,
100%.
Yeah. The way the M9 taught me to see things differently when I'm composing shots, I got to imagine that seeing things only black and white is going to change.
What happens is that, what happened for me is that depending on the time of day, like I know that like I'm like looking around for the M246 because I know that the light is so perfect, the way that the sensor reads the light, that like I could take a picture of garbage and it's going to look pretty.
That's all. There's not going to, I can't even do much with it right now, I don't have any jobs booked in the next 2 months.
Dude, you're going to have so much fun. I mean,
I'm just going to go out and shoot everything and anything I can just to get used to it and play around with it.
Even when you just get up close and you put the Summilux on a leaf, or like your daughter, a portrait of your family. I mean, you'll take a shot and you're like, okay. And the back of the screen is way better than the M9.
Oh, it's not night and day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my one came with the EVF. EVF's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I had the EVF when I had the M240.
Right. Well, I think it actually works better on the 246 because it's only doing grayscale.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So it's I find it to be incredibly crisp. I mean, I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm glad it was included. I put it on there. I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It was one thing I didn't get with my M10 and then, the M10P.
Yeah.
You're kind of limited. I always like being able to look down that EVF and
Yeah.
get a shot, where it's a different angle, but you're limited with that without it.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have a blast. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna find a lot of great things to shoot with it. I mean, it's hard not to love it. And the funny thing, just to put a fine point on, is it's the last night. Went out for a little drive. I just wanted to take some pictures, and go out there. Oh, see a mama bear and her two little baby cubs. The cubs were the size of French bulldogs. Two of them, the cutest little things with their little arms. Anyway, so we go take a few pictures, and then driving home, the sky literally was like the most gorgeous pastel painting. It was one of the most beautiful skies I've ever seen in my life. And I've got the monochrome with me.
It's happened to me.
I'm just like, by the time we pull the driveway, it's like, yeah, this color's gone. It's done. No way.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because a lot of the, like a lot of photographers right now, like during this time when we're stuck at home, and like I have the young one. Just like you, Daniel. Like I said, mine's 6 years old. I'm trying to document life at home right now because I know next year it's just going to be a shit show of being crazy and busy, and I'm going to look back at this time and think like, I should have slowed down even more. But I'm kind of documenting it like a lot of photographers, and most of the photos that I'm editing in black and white. And that was kind of what drew me to, it was like, now is the best time possible for me to try this camera.
Yeah.
Because I'm already editing everything that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just shoot it that way and actually like start to
you edit so much less. I mean, you're literally, everyone's style is different, but the contrast would go up, shadows would come down. That was my, my edit. When do you have to give it back?
I think I'll have it for about 6-7 weeks, maybe.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, that's a good chunk.
Yeah, I'll have it for a while, which I'm looking forward to. It'll be enough time for me to really convince
you won't need that. You won't need that much.
The thing about the 246, is that because of the way that the sensor, because of the sensor, it sees more light, so you've got a lot more tonality, and because of that, like Daniel says, like, your editing will change, but you'll actually see more detail than you saw before. And like we were saying before, even though it's the same inherent sensor, just without the Bayer filter than the 240, it's got much greater ISO capability, and the files are a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
So your native files are like ridiculously clean, almost too clean. You almost want to add grain.
What was it? It was like 10,000.
10,000 is clean.
Yeah, it's clean.
Yeah, it's weird.
And on the M10M, it's just...
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, M10M, you can shoot it like 40,000.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, I figured that.
The M10M at 160, it's that of like a medium format kind of smoothness. And then you have to get to 12,500 to even basically start to see some grain, to start to see some light grain.
Yeah. I think for me, it's, with my black and white editing, I'm always starting from color. So I'm curious to see if it changes how I edit my black and white photos going forward. Just being able to see that starting point now is different, and I'm not starting from color.
It's very hard to go back. I don't even like editing black and white, and it's not because I didn't shoot it in black and white. I just don't think it looks good anymore. Personally.
Yeah, no, I can see that totally. Yeah, no doubt.
And so you use the primarily the SL or SL2 now?
Yeah, I primarily shoot with the SL2. I'm supposed to be getting a second one. I was supposed to have it before everything hit. Mm-hmm. And I don't know when I'm going to end up getting it now. But yeah, the idea is that I'm going to have 2 SL2 bodies for weddings.
Nice.
The Q2, my wife uses the Q2, so it's mostly hers. She stole it from me. She hasn't given it back. And then, I'd like to pick up either the M9P or, depending how this goes, the monochrome. So, Yeah, I mean that's saying. I mean that's being optimistic that I'm not living out of a box in 2 months. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I think the thing that we've all kind of recognized is that right now, until we pick up, with our resume, let's say, working, that, extraneous purchases are on hold.
Yeah, no doubt. That's why it's like everything lately. It's been, can I get this on loan? You guys mind if I borrow this?
I just did that with, I just did that with some new product that's going to be coming in next week. Some stuff I want to try out. So,
yeah, the toughest part with that is now I have such a long list of reviews that I have to write. It's going to keep me busy up until I'm going to hope that weddings don't happen until late November at this point. I'm redoing my entire network in the studio. I'm working with Synology on that with a new NAS that they have coming out. So, the amount of work that I've already put into it and then already, still have to do on that is just in my head. Just gives me a headache to think about. But
is your studio separate from your house?
yeah, so the studio's it's actually in a strip, like whatever you want to call that. There's a pizza shop next door. There's a candy.
Nice.
There's a brewery next door on the other side.
Man, I'd never freaking leave that place.
Trust me, man. Right
Pizza,
now,
beer, and photography.
the
Sounds
fact
perfect.
I had this to come to, as like an escape from home. I bring my 6-year-old here to do his schoolwork. We get pizza and beer, and we knock his kindergarten work out.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's nice. So it's only less than a mile away from home. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So, and before I did photography, I was a network engineer. So, all the network side of it and backup and storage, that was what I did.
That's Daniel's strong point, actually. He spent a lot of time on back in.
I was showing Adam my, I don't know, we were doing something and my computer was up and my desktop, he goes, holy shit, that's your desktop? It's just these files. And I mean,
his desktop is a canopy of files and folders. There's no desktop.
Yeah, you know what?
You can't see anything.
Oddly enough, I'm not like that.
I don't know.
It drives me bananas. But anyway, I get it. It's everyone has their own thing. It's not not for me to judge. Well, that's really awesome. So with your studio, clients can meet you there. You don't have to have them come home. You don't have to meet at a Starbucks. So when you have a new potential client, they just come there, and actually you can do shooting there too, right?
Yeah, you know what? So I actually, before the studio, I had a big 4,000 square foot studio.
Whoa.
Right outside of Philly. And it ended up being, I had this whole goal of shooting in there and, designing this whole like Peter Hurley style, like, area of shooting. And then.
Where was the shebang corner?
I had like 4 of them. There was,
nice.
And then it just ended up being too much. Not only the rent, but it was 2 years in and I hadn't done maybe like more than 4 or 5 shoots.
Oh,
I was only using it for client consultations.
Yeah.
So I was doing a reveal party. So after the wedding, I have clients come in and I show them their photos for the first time, and they can bring their family and their friends. They can drink, have some food, and then I'm like, you know what? This is just twice the size I need, and this place opened up a mile from home, so we bought this. And right now, it's just we do all our work here. I have an office here. We do client consultations. I have, projector screen where I do reveal parties still, tons of products and albums, and it works out perfect, but it's half the size, it's half the price, the rent's half the price, and it works out good. I mean,
half the aggravation.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that sounds really cool. I love that idea. I mean, because so I'm typically based in Manhattan, and my wife and I are kind of chilling in the country during this whole thing. And my apartment is probably like as big as like your master bathroom, and I'm not joking. So, there's no like working from that space, it's fine. Client work, no way. And space is such a commodity. And I mean, I remember, I did weddings for a while, and just was always like, trying to, having to pick a place to meet.
Yeah.
But but which is okay to a degree, but there's something nice about actually having the studio, having the space, kind of putting them at ease, and then also being able to bring them back and have the reveal party and really kind of have it like brick and mortar. Like that's pretty unique and special, man. That's very cool.
It is, and it's funny because I've seen ever since the pandemic hit, I've seen a lot of different people talking about how the future of the workplace and how
yes,
businesses, they're gonna gear themselves more towards everybody working from home, and maybe not everybody coming into the office as much. But for us, I can't imagine only working from home and not having this studio. Not only for just meeting clients here, but especially with a 6-year-old. When if I try to work from home, he literally is just like, "What the fuck are you doing, Dad? Like, why aren't you playing Transformers with me?" Or, "Hey, let's play on the iPad." And I'm like, "I got to work." He doesn't understand. So then it's a battle between me and my wife who's going to work. So now, this is an escape. It's a place for me to get away.
Right.
Work, and even mentally, just to leave the house and just drive a mile even.
It's like looking in a mirror, except I don't have the space. We have a home office, and you get my son banging on the door. Sometimes I'm just throwing on this mute button because dogs are barking, and it's good to get out.
It is, sure. And it's funny because when we bought this place, my wife, who runs the business with me, she was like, "Maybe we don't need a studio. We can do this from home." And I was like, "You are out of your mind. There's no way we can do this from home." And she tried it while I came here, and I was, I remodeled the entire place. And within a month, she was moving all her shit in here, and she was like, "I can't do it. We have to. I'm moving in. We're never going without a studio again." And it's, if you don't have kids, and if you're single or maybe not married, or even if you are married, there's certain people I feel like it could work for. But when you have kids or a kid, pets, or you don't want clients coming into your home, especially mainly just speaking for wedding photographers, I kind of feel like this is something I'm not going to let go of anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that, 5 years ago, every client I had wanted to meet in person. And over the last 4 years, it's just now it's not, not even before this happened. I was just, FaceTime, Skype, that was the norm. No one even expected, I say maybe 10% would ask if we could meet, and then be totally cool when we just connect this way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
But it's nice that you have a space and you're able to invite them in.
Well, you're also in like a different region.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Being in New York City, for somebody, a couple that they have big jobs and blah, blah, blah. And then they have to like make time, and they both have to try to go across town or whatever to meet somebody. And, half the time it's like easier, just like Daniel said, just pick up the phone or grab a Skype or now.
And now even after this, everyone's so used to Zooming and.
No, you're right. And even with that, for me to do a call from where I'm sitting right now compared to at home, I don't have it. I live in a small townhouse. So, like you had said, Adam, you live in, your spot, is the size of my bathroom. I live in a small little townhouse. So this studio is actually bigger than where we live. So for me to come here and do the Zoom calls or the Skype calls or anything I'm doing, like with light, it's, I'd much rather come here where it's peace and quiet and get away from them.
And then when you're home, you could be present. And that's part of the
yeah, it is. Exactly. You're right.
I want to be present, but I can't, because this is where I work, and that balance is super difficult.
No, that's the most difficult thing. It really is.
Yeah. So back to camera gear. So you're one of the few people that we know that's shooting with the SL2. And you hung in there from the SL. I actually had an SL, Dan too, but I liked it. And I do a lot of tethering. I do a lot of studio work.
Yep.
And for me, the SL, unfortunately, it didn't tether. Leica was aware of the situation, and rather than address it, they just addressed it in the SL2.
Yeah.
So I actually jumped ship, and I'm thinking about jumping back to the SL2 because, I've got a Sony. um, and it's the 61 megapixel Sony, and I have to say the files are pretty incredible. I had a GFX for a while, and I hate to do it, but the files to me are on par in a lot of ways with the GFX. Yes, they're not medium format, but then again, the GFX is cropped medium format, so it's like whatever.
You're right.
But the files off the A7R4, I mean, the blacks are really rich. Files are really deep. They're malleable. I mean, the glass is nothing like a glass. We're never even going to get into that discussion. But I did play with the SL2. It felt good in the hand. The files look amazing. And I think that one of the biggest difficulties that I've had in really kind of committing to that platform is the price. Not just the body, but the lenses. Because to me, the magic of the SL2 is the glass.
Yeah.
Like I'd want the 50 Summicron, the 75.
35.
Yeah, and
90.
You got 17, 18 grand. And
no, it is. I think right now I had a lot of trouble. I mean, to be completely transparent and honest with you guys, I had a lot of trouble pushing the SL system for the up until about a year ago, because of the price of not just the body but the lenses. To me, I could justify the body. The Sony body is this much.
Yeah.
A D5 is this much. So I could push that, but then you add the lenses on, like you said, Adam, and now you're getting up there.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, since I don't shoot with many lenses, I don't shoot with a lot of equipment anymore. I have the SL2 and I have three lenses for it. But now with their partnership with Panasonic, and with Sigma jumping on with their L mount lenses, and Panasonic having their lenses, it opened up a little bit more room for those who don't want to spend or don't have the money to spend on a fortune on that glass. If you want to shoot with a ton of lenses, the Sigma, I just shot with the 105 1.4. It's heavy, but it's the same one that I think comes with, you can shoot for Sony with the Sony mount. It's a beast of a lens. It's heavy, but now you can mount it on the SL, and the image quality was just, I was blown away by it. And
I've heard the 135 is an incredible lens, just as far as how the focus is incredible. It's got that lens actually, believe it or not, has 2 focus motors, one on each end.
Yep.
So it's incredibly fast focusing, and it's tack sharp.
So basically, if you use the SL and the 135, you get arms like you.
Yeah. I mean, you got to give it like
what happens, because
like 3 or 4 weeks.
These twigs,
I could floss my teeth with those things.
I mean, the funny
this is what an M user looks like,
Yeah.
That's not true. I don't think I've got my balls broke more than when somebody would catch me shooting with an M.
Yeah.
And they would be
like a toy camera.
Yeah, like
you just like crush it and.
Yeah, they're like, why do you shoot with such a baby tiny?
I pick things up and put them down.
I got my balls broke more than ever in that camera. And it was hilarious. I would write posts about I use it.
So funny.
Yeah.
I think
do you have any zooms?
Good discipline for a photographer, so I'm all for it.
Yeah. What'd you say, Daniel, about the zooms? Do I have any?
What are the 3 lenses? You said you use 3 lenses for them. What are the 3?
Yeah, so right now I have the 35 Summicron, the 50 Summilux for the SL, and the 90. I had the 75. I liked it. The only benefit was it had a shorter minimum focus distance.
Okay.
Which I did like, but I was never took advantage of it. So right now the only 3 lenses I own are the 35, the 50, and the 90.
Okay, so you don't use the 24, because my issue is I gelled with the camera when I had my M glass on it, which was very rarely, because I wanted that camera for autofocus.
Right.
And I guess it came with 24 to 90.
Yep.
And I'm not really a zoom guy, and that was a fucking beast of a zoom. Yeah. And then you're at 90, you're at f4, which I don't really want to be at.
No, the same way.
Yeah. So I fought with it, and the autofocus wasn't enough to make me want to keep it.
With the original SL, with the original SL, I'll be honest with you, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
The autofocus, I mean, in low light,
Hunted like crazy.
It hunted like crazy. And at the time, I was shooting, before I bought my first SL, I was shooting with the 5D Mark IV. And in live view, that camera was just like, I mean, money, man. I was blown away by that camera. And I was hooked with that. And then I was with the SL, and I was like, well, I got image quality and lenses, but with the Mark IV, I got AF that I can rely on. And then I kind of, battled back and forth. And then the SL2 came out, and I was like, in my head, it was like, well, if the autofocus isn't up to par with everything else on the market right now, I'm not going to use it.
Right.
And when I tried it, it really was. The autofocus was. I haven't shot with some of the newer bodies, some of the newer Sony ones, but I've shot with a lot of them, and it's on par with those. And that was why I was like, you know what? If I invest in just 3 lenses that I know I'll use, then it'll be worth it for me. So
do you basically have like one on each side?
Yeah,
you keep like a 35 on one body and the 75 or the 50 on the other, pretty much?
Yeah, so I usually have the 35 on one body and then the 50 on the other, and then I use the 90 when I'm at if I need it at a ceremony, or if I want
that reach,
right, or if I want compression for if I'm in the city or something. Mm-hmm. But besides that, I mean, I've gotten to the point now where I'm happy with just shooting with a 35 and 50.
Yeah.
And I'm good. There are times where...
Do you need to go wider? I mean, if you're doing group shots.
I do. So I'm a big fan of going really wide for those environmental type portraits where it's like the big scene, tiny people. Mm-hmm. And I still have a Canon 16 to 35. Okay. And eventually I'm going to pick up the Leica version of it. But right now, the Canon version, I mean, does the job.
The Leica version, the SL one's supposed to be incredibly good.
I've borrowed it. I've shot with it. It is. It's just a matter of, coming up with the money to pick it up. But once that's
right. You're going to be buying an M monochrome in about 7 weeks. So.
Yeah, so 16 to 35 ain't going to happen anytime soon.
No.
I shoot most of my reception with, or the dancing photo part of the reception with the 21 1.8 Voigtlander.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not going to spend thousands on the 21 for reception when I'm shooting at f8 and kind of dragging the shutter a little bit. And there's no distortion, and I love it. I kind of zone focus and manually, pop one of those 24s, SF24s. And I love that setup.
No, that's it. I mean, I used to do the same thing when I had the 24 Summilux. I would zone focus. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, it kicked ass. It was an awesome setup. If there's one M lens that I do regret selling, it was the 24.
Especially if you like Alan's work. I mean,
yeah, he shoots everything on that.
Yeah, the 24.
Yep, no doubt.
And we talked to Phil Penman a couple weeks ago.
He's another guy I haven't met or talked. I've actually never even spoke to the guy, but I'm a fan of his work. He's an incredible photographer.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And he was super inspiring with his 246 work and his black and white. He's a big SL guy.
It's funny because my rep that I work with for Leica for the workshops I do, he's the same rep who works with Phil. He works with Alan. He works with Mark Mann. So when I've met Mark, but whenever I'm traveling with John Kreidler, who's the rep, I mean,
we know John.
I get to hear all the stories about these other photographers, and it's like I feel like I know them and I don't, but I'm like a fanboy of them because I mean I just appreciate their work so much, and definitely have a lot of respect for them.
Yeah,
and I mean that's why I reached out. I've been following your work for a while, and I respect your work. I really like your work, and the fact that you shoot with the cameras you do, the M's, and I saw that post the other day, and I was like, this is exactly what Adam and I talk about. Not even on the podcast, just like throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I don't have anybody to talk to about this. It's rare.
Now you do.
A few of my buddies that did end up buying M's after they tried mine ended up moving to Sony's or just.
And you can't argue. I have. The thing is, I also don't. I've been a wedding photographer for a while now, 8 years or so. And I don't network in that world. So I know a couple people, but it's not a type of relationship where we talk on any regular basis. And so I sort of have my blinders on. I do my thing. It's good and it's bad. I wish my blinders were off when it came to event planners and, people like that. But
I'm like in the middle, man. So, I've actually went more your direction over the past year than the way I used to be. Like I used to write for SLR Lounge. I used to write for a couple other websites, and I was really big into the industry. And then over the past year, I've kind of faded back and just put the blinders on and just focused on what was important. And to be honest with you, Daniel, man, I mean, as you probably know, it's helped. I mean, once you start focusing on, what you want to focus on and kind of, void out the noise, it definitely has a benefit to it.
More signal, less noise.
Exactly.
What's so I know that this pandemic is affecting everybody, but it's got to be really difficult for the wedding business in general and, wedding photography, because gatherings and all that other stuff. Are you seeing that, I know Daniel's moved some weddings, into the future. Are you seeing that happen? Are people reaching out, or are you still kind of in that holding pattern? What are you seeing happening?
So in the beginning, it was kind of, it was like, okay, the next couple months have postponed. And then it hit July, and then it hit August. And then over the past month, it started to become all the way out to the end of October. We're postponing their weddings until 2021. Now they're taking dates of potentially new clients that I now can't book. And there's nothing, it's nobody's fault. And I'm working with them as best I can and saying, hey, if we're available, it's yours.
Right.
No penalty. And if I'm not available, I'm trying my best to work with them on, giving them some of their money back. But it's been a learning process. It's been an experience and trying to see what other wedding photographers are doing. Because you have some wedding photographers who are saying, hey, I'll give you all your money back. And then it becomes the norm. Yet, I have clients who sign a contract where the deposit or container is non-refundable. And they're just canceling. They're not even trying to postpone. Luckily for me, that's only happened 1 or 2 times. But as of right now, I have a lot of clients who all the way out till the end of October. And I run a studio where we have 6 other photographers. So we shoot about 120 to 130 weddings a year. And right now our next wedding isn't until November. So it is nerve-wracking, because the only thing that we took as far as like financial aid, me and my wife, was unemployment. We didn't go the PPP route. We didn't go the IEDL route. And if unemployment runs out at the end of July, yet we don't have any work until November, then that's going to backfire.
Could you go for one of those loans?
I could still go for one of those loans. Right now, I know that they're attempting to pass a bill to push the unemployment until January. And I'm hoping that passes. But it's unknown right now, because from what I'm basically going off of what my accountants told me, and that is it's either unemployment or the PPP loan. If you do both, it's kind of double dipping. There's kind of ways to work around it, but to play it safe right now, which is what I'm trying to do, I'm just going to take the unemployment. And it's $800 a week for both me and my wife separately. So that just kicked in about 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So that alone is just huge, because up until that point, we weren't getting anything. And now, at least we have something coming in. I have a few projects with Leica coming up that I'm working on. Different things that keep me busy. But as far as weddings are concerned, yeah, it's looking like November. I've had 2 clients out of out of 60 or 70 weddings that I've postponed now. I've had 2 that have done like a social distancing type of small family intimate wedding. And I shot one last week, and I just put the blog post up on my website. And I shot it out to like all the news outlets. and newspapers and bridal magazines, because I got a cool shot of the bride and groom with custom-made face masks.
Hmm.
And it's like they had a section of woods behind their house where it was like a eerie, woodsy area.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
looking at it on your Instagram. That's cool.
and it definitely has like this eerie movie type pandemic feel.
Yeah.
So I just shared it today, or on Instagram. I shared it a couple of days ago, but it'd be cool to see if that gets get some exposure to it, kind of help book some new weddings for the company.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the way to go. If you can demonstrate that you can kind of promote safe work practices and still be able to kind of provide clients with what they need.
Yeah,
I think the difficulty is, yeah, sure, you can get a couple standing next to each other, but then what? Where you just kind of place everyone else 6 to 8 feet.
The one I said, the first one I did a couple of weeks ago, it was funny because mentally, you go prepared to kind of follow the rules, and the bride and groom for the family photo said, mom and dad are going to stand over there, my brother and sister are going to stand over here, and I just, you get in the zone of doing what you're used to doing, and I looked at them and I was like, guys, get closer, like, what are you doing? Why are you standing so far apart? And here it's like, they're trying to follow social distancing, and here's this photographer guy telling them to get close, and it didn't even like dawn on me why they were standing apart from each other, because I'm just trying to, I'm so used to doing what I do. And it wasn't until afterwards that I was like, wow, fuck, I'm telling them to get close when they're trying to stay away from each other.
I did a proposal, an engagement, and there was like 10 family members in the backyard afterwards. And I like it for some wedding party shots, and I like to have everyone kind of spread out at times, like super far, just random that. And so as I was doing it, there's the woman who got proposed to, who just got proposed, engaged, sorry. I shot her brother's wedding, and he was like, oh, this is kind of like what you do anyways, social distancing. So I kind of was like, let's just like, everyone spread out. And the mother was, staying like this, not wanting to like, which I appreciate. They were conservative. I had my mask on, fogging up my glasses, and
that was the worst part. Yeah, it's tough, man. This past Saturday was so hot and humid, no breeze.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally walk away from this while the ceremony was going on, just turn around and like just pull it off, take a deep breath, and be like, holy shit, please, I hope this gets over soon.
We need to get like those cooling, the cooling things, like make a cooling mask,
Yeah, I've seen that.
Or you could do like that lady in Florida did, or whatever. They cut the hole so she could breathe easier.
I just need like a bag of ice hanging from my face, like right here, and a fan right at the bottom of it.
Yeah, it's like I never really thought about it until like even today I was like out doing some errands and stuff and wearing that thing, and it was so freaking hot and humid, and it's just like sweating in that thing. But whatever, you just do it, just. And now like, my wife's ordered a bunch. I have a few like we have like nicer ones, Yep,
we did the same.
Because now it's going to be like the kind of thing like with you, where I'm going to be on a job all day, and I don't want to wear some like gross piece of paper, to get nasty. I want to wear something nice. You're
going to be in a job?
I'm planning to go back to work someday. I don't have anything on the. I've sent out a few bids. We'll see. We'll see if things are going to start happening at some point.
Well, let me know if you need somebody to carry your bags. Let me know. I'll be available.
Yeah, I'll carry Jay's bag.
Hey, look, at least you got the pandemic stuff, man. I filed for that 10 weeks ago, and it's in there. It just they will not release it for me.
Yeah, I applied for the EIDL, whatever, and I'm in the same boat with that. I haven't heard anything.
No, I'm talking about the unemployment.
Oh, really?
I've gotten 0.
Well, it's because in Connecticut they're giving it to all the,
I don't know what the deal is, but it's super aggravating because there's no number to call.
No, there's nothing.
No, there literally isn't. And because it's a federal program, not a state program, you can't just call like Connecticut Department of Labor.
Right.
And if you do, they're just like, oh no, we can't deal with you.
Yeah, or you sit on hold for an hour just for them to tell you that.
Well, I did. It was more
I did,
than an hour.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing.
Oh man. Well, whatever. Hopefully it'll work out,
Yep, yep.
But
So what's your thought? Because you were saying that you might go to the M9P, or you might get an M10 again.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Where are you at with that when you're thinking about?
To be honest with you, I love the M10, man. I did. And then when the M10P came out, I lost money on trading my M10 in to get the M10P, mainly for the quieter shutter. And for some reason, man, it lost something for me, like with that uniqueness, or the character, something it was. I mean, as good of a camera as the M10 was, it made me almost miss the M9 that much.
oh yeah.
Like it was just the M9 had something that I never, the images it produced were just, unique to me. They were different. And, if you compare them side by side, most people can't tell the difference. I get that. But it was, I don't know what it was. I didn't use it as much. I loved it, but it just sat in my bag a lot of the times. And when I did use it, it looked just like the SL2 or the SL. And so when I sold it, yeah, it sucked. I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm fucking selling my M10. I haven't been without an M in 5-6 years. And then it was like a month went by, and all I thought about was the M9. So I honestly think I'm gonna end up getting an M9 or an M9P, or if I like the monochrome, I'll get that. But yeah, I'm gonna have an M again. Hopefully, once I start making some money again at some point.
No, I think that, I mean, what you said, I think makes total sense that the M10 files you were getting look more similar to your SL2 files. That's like a lot, that's something Adam and I haven't really brought up because I guess we maybe haven't spent that much time, especially recently with that. But the M9 to the M10 it's completely different.
Yeah.
We send texts and we're, the game we play, it's just, what camera, what lens,
Yeah, half the time it's your CL, so whatever.
Well, that's because it's fun.
I never think about it. Yeah, no, I've
when
thought
it's
about
my CL and he says and he's like, that's your M10M. I'm like,
yeah, now I know how to look because it's the out of focus regions that are the telltale on that camera. As nice as it looks, it doesn't have the same look. But I've thought about selling the M10 for an SL too, and lenses, and getting rid of the Sony as well. But right now I'm holding on to what I got. I'm not really doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other side of it. Just holding on to what you got, and really waiting until you feel that urge you feel like you got to make a move. And right now I'm happy with the SL2 and the Q2 as like my main two cameras. But it's from the creative side of things and for personal work. I never grab my SL2 for personal work. I do grab the Q2, but I like to have something different, something that's fun to shoot.
You need an M9, dude.
And that's it, man. And it's funny because I have the few friends that I do have that do shoot M's and shoot weddings, they've actually went back to the M9P from their M10P. And they're looking at their images and seeing what they're shooting, and I can see that difference and how much they're having fun shooting it.
The colors are different.
Yeah, and you know what? And so many people hated those colors for so long. They're shitty colors. They're so hard to edit.
Well, now film's so cool, and people want, that type of feel.
That's almost like the joy of it, though. It is hard to edit. It's different.
Sometimes, you got to wrestle sometimes with the magenta, the colors, and the lighting. But on weddings, we're outside a lot, and we have natural light. And for a lot of the day, for a good part of the day, the M9 is going to shine.
Right.
And
you're not going to.
I felt fresh, and you have you have your SLs to counter when you need to go indoors and.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think I think you're going to end up with a monochrome and an M9 because you seem to have this like.
I'm
Sorry,
definitely. I'm not. But trust me, I'm not saying you're wrong by any means.
No.
It's going to be hard to give that monochrome back, my friend.
I'll be texting both of you tomorrow night, probably letting you know.
Yeah.
It's on order. Yeah, and those things you could you can't blink without seeing one. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
and 246s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many people dumped them. I mean, there was a time when, well, you still can if you look hard.
Last August, I got a decent deal, and it was $4,500 cash on Craigslist. I mean, I sold my GFX system for it, and I came out on top. But that was the going price. I mean, the price is just completely.
Yeah, now it's like take $1,000 off that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the M9. I mean, even with the M9 and M9P, same thing. I mean, you could get a real good deal, especially if you get one with a corroded sensor that you can pay to get replaced.
That's what I did. My local shop, I brought it over to Leica because I'm super close to them, and the guy's like, it's got a little corrosion on the sensor because it was actually replaced, but it was replaced with the original sensor.
Yeah.
So I got it for a deal that made sense for me to replace it.
I'm not doing the same thing. It'll be the cheapest route for me.
It took Adam. I did the same day. It took 3 weeks.
Yeah,
it was so easy.
I'll happily wait 3 weeks rather.
I just actually got a note from them that they're opening up for mail-in service again, so you can send gear to them now.
I actually need to. I think I need to calibrate the rangefinder a bit on the M10M.
Shocking.
It's frustrating. I know.
So I have done that by hand. I don't know if you've tried it, Daniel.
No, I've never.
Yeah, they showed me how to do it, and I did it, and it's actually easy, but it is nerve-wracking.
Both vertical and horizontal, or just?
Yeah. No, both. Yeah.
Do you have to open, or is it all with the screw on the outside?
No, it's inside. When you take the lens off, there's that little circle disc, and then you got to get I think it's a hex head. And
you just tap it.
No, you actually turn it. It's you kick it across the floor.
Yeah.
No, it's you know what? It's been like a year since I did it, but
it worked. But what about? I mean, I'll go there, and I'm obviously a detailed. You want to, and I like to be at minimal focal distance, 1.4, and have it be in focus.
Yeah, same way.
Yeah. And so I paired cameras and lenses together to get that.
Yeah.
Because Bill over at Leica is always like, well, it's within tolerance. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Can you
Yeah, he's actually the one who sent me. He sent me a PDF on how to adjust it, and I was
like, don't come back. I'm surprised he didn't send it to me because I'm always there. He's probably like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it was, and I was nervous as shit to do it. And a buddy of mine that his was off, and I offered to fix his, and he was like, "Nah, you're not touching it, man." He's like, "I'm sending it in."
But if it's just a matter of just moving a screw that turns a gear that just kind of sets that just a little bit in one direction or another, it's not really a big adjustment.
No, trust me, that was the thing. It was a lot easier than what I ever expected.
Do you need a special tool?
No, just a hex head.
Yeah, it was just
like a right angle hex head.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
What it's probably? I mean, if I had to guess, it's probably like a 3 mil hex head.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, like it would probably kick my ass for saying this over a podcast, but I'll send you the PDF that I know that I have.
Yeah.
Just take a look at it. Check it out.
I'll just send it to.
I'd love to try it
if I fuck it up.
Yeah, and then that's what I mean. Yeah, if you fuck it up, send it in the Leica. That's all.
I could drive over there. So 20 minutes. I'm banging on their door like, yeah, I gotta, I have my bag full of shit.
I just sent my 50 Summilux, the M mount one in. I was trying to do some goofy shit, putting a glass piece in front of it to get a different flare, and I scratched the shit out of the front element.
What?
And I sent it in, and I was expecting it to be a fortune. It ended up being only $150.
What?
Got the whole front element replaced.
That's amazing.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Got a brand.
Maybe I should. I picked up like a 60s Summilux, and it has like a little. I mean, you can't tell.
You don't
photos,
see it in the images. Who cares? You're not going to sell it.
Well, that's the funniest thing. The one that I had didn't have. I like this. It has like a red ring flare to it, and the one that I had didn't, because they're all made by hand. So there's like that
Little
there's
differences.
there's the difference between each one. It didn't have it. So I traded the one that I had the front element replaced with a buddy who had a scratch on his, but would give me the flare. Because when shot wide open, you don't see the scratch. So now I have one with a scratch again, and I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the running joke with me and Adam is that all the gear I get is just
off.
The calibration's off, the lens is off, and it's not untrue. And like he'll get something from like Bumblefuck, and it's like spot on. I mean, he's like, check this out. It's like 2-to-1 crop, and it's like spot on. And
look,
I opened my box that I got from Leica, and it's off.
It's just pure luck. I mean, trust me. It's like
it is luck. But
I mean, like even that 246. So I sold my M9M to a friend of ours who really needed one. And I was not really sure what I was going to do. Long story longer, whatever. And then a 246 popped up that I couldn't refuse, and I just jumped on it. And I even like said to the guy, like, how's the rangefinder? And I think the guy like literally bought it off the forum, had it for a week, and was like, I don't need a monochrome, and I need money, and just dumped it to me, which was nice.
Yeah.
And it's completely tacked. I mean, it's awesome, but I don't even think it was used that much. It's like pretty minty. But
whoever bought my M10P off me, I mean, they got a steal. I just wanted
to always let us know if you're going to sell anything, because the odds are
Dan will buy it.
We'll find a way to.
So going forward, I mean, it was funny because for like 2 weeks nobody wanted it, and I dropped the price. I think I sold it for like $5,000, and it was like
that's like insane for a P.
I mean, I was like tears coming down my heart when I boxed it up. And I'm like, I can't believe I just did this. But
well, I vacillate with my love. I mean, I haven't even had a chance to talk to Daniel because he's like my sounding board about this. But I'll say it now. I've been actually, now that I've had the M246, I've been thinking about selling my M10 and getting a 240 because.
Trust me, I thought about it too. I see a lot of comments from people who say the 240 was one of the worst M's ever made.
Oh, come on. It's such horseshit.
It is.
Perfect camera.
The one M that I never owned, color M, was the MP, the 240 MP. And I borrowed it for a trip to Seattle, Washington. Looking at those images, they're some of my most favorite images I've taken.
Right.
And it was a camera that I wish I had bought. And to hear people say that that's the shittiest M that they've made.
I think it's people that don't.
I can tell you why.
One, don't like the body.
The body is the biggest thing.
But for someone like you, it's probably still a toy.
It's still a baby camera. But the body is too fat and it's too heavy because of the stupid ginormous battery.
The movie.
It's got the movie function, which you'll never use. But I will say that the live view is fucking awesome. Like last night I actually took pictures of my truck because I finally took the running boards off after 5 years, and now it's like a free lift kit. It looks pretty bad ass. And I was sitting down in this field, and the truck was there, and it was kind of backlit with the sun over it, with the monochrome. And I wanted to have a low angle shot. And I was like, oh fuck, I'll just put on live view. Done.
Yeah, but
why would you sell
your M10?
What's that?
But what's the reason for wanting to sell your M10 for the?
Because I got so much money tied up in it, and I could free that money up for glass, for other stuff.
Yeah, but how much money are you going to get for you have to? How much
I think the M10 is probably worth
240.
I don't know. I mean, the last 240 I bought was $2,100.
21. No,
they're out there.
So the thing was with me was whatever was missing with the M10, which I loved at first.
Yeah.
Something was missing with it. I just didn't connect with it after a year. And that was the thing. It was like either a 240 or an M9, but I wanted to go back to one of the previous cameras because something just was too, I don't know, too new with it. But it's like, it's mental. It's a mental game you play with yourself. And it's, to me, that's why I want to go back to the M9. But you know what? If I could get a 240 on, a deal on one, I'd probably scoop it up in a minute.
I can get you a deal on one.
And, oh, by the way, if you didn't know it, and I do want to register this website, Daniel is the camera yenta, which is a Yiddish term, A Yenta is a matchmaker. I know if you ever saw Fiddler on the Roof, you probably didn't, but whatever.
I did. Trust
Okay, so if you've ever seen Fiddler on the Roof, a Yenta is a Yiddish term for matchmaker. Daniel is the camera Yenta. He, for some reason, finds deals.
It's a gift. I don't even know where it comes from.
Or like if you
It's
mention,
not,
like
I don't have the stuff to sell. I find.
Like I just said to
Yeah.
Daniel, I'm thinking about the 240. I guarantee you, by the end of today, he'll have one somewhere for me. When I considered selling my M10, he had somebody ready to buy. I mean, I don't understand it, but there's some magical mystical
No,
force.
you wanted it. You wanted to unload his M9M that day. I found someone to unload for him to sell.
It's crazy. So if you ever need
friend.
gear, bought or sold, just Daniel's your man for that. And he's not even a horse. Well, whatever. He is kind of, but he's not a salesy guy. He just has a keen ear for it, you know?
Good to know. That's good to know.
He's got his ear to the ground and like it just kind of comes to him. It's amazing.
Well, it's like my local shop, they're a Leica distributor. And I talked to him the other day and he was like, yeah, tomorrow I'm going over to this person's house. They have, a bunch of M glass and an M6 and some Leica stuff. I'm like, you let me know what you find. And I haven't heard from him. And because they get into it they can get into it for like so cheap,
Yeah.
And for some reason, like he doesn't know. And if he's listening, I would probably tell him to his face. Well, I'm saying he doesn't know, like the market value for like what he's got, and it's on the higher side. I'm like, he's trying to sell me like a certified pre-owned SL for $3,000. I'm like, why would I ever buy an SL for $3,000 now?
No.
I just passed someone for $1,900.
Dealing with shops always going to be a crapshoot.
Yeah, but it's like an antiquated, and he has like a Leica enlarger, for making prints.
Yeah.
And do you do any film?
I did. I shot a lot of film. I still haven't yet to shoot with a Leica M film camera.
Oh my God. Okay, so
I shot years with a Contact 645, a Mamiya.
Yeah.
I haven't. I always look for like a M2 or an M7, M6.
So I have an M3 and an M6. And one of my dream cameras is that Contact 645 though.
It was mine for years and years, and I bought it and I loved it. And when we bought this studio, we had to invest so much money into remodeling it that I sold it, and it was like it was just as hard as when I sold my M10P. Because I waited years, because to me it was like, why would I spend $3,000 to $4,000 on a Contact with the 80mm lens that I wanted, the 1.9 or the f.
The Zeiss.
Yeah, Zeiss. And I finally got it after all these years, and I shot it for 2 years and loved it. The images, were just as good as I ever expected. 120 film, the full, format, and it was like, it's everything I wanted. And then I sold it, and now I'm like, fuck, I just want to get it back. And
well, it's just at the end of the day, when
you can, and that's the thing.
It's just money, yeah.
It's a commodity. You can buy it. It's out there.
Right.
But if you have an itch for a 35mm film, it is a no-brainer to pick up an M film camera. You throw your lenses that you have on there, and it's much fun. And
exactly the way I want to go, man.
And I'm trying to figure out our scanning situation. I'm developing now. I didn't.
Oh, Daniel, did I tell you that a present's arriving for you tomorrow?
Ooh.
UPS,
very,
baby.
Very excited. It's the Adam got a camera stand with like the Biyun. What's it called?
Yeah, it's a camera stand that's meant for enlarging negatives or taking pictures of negatives, and it's got an M mount on the top. So you literally click your M body, it faces straight down, and then you just put either an enlarging lens on the bottom, or you with the tubes. It's got little extension tubes. You can actually put just any 50, like even your Summilux, and you get whatever the sensor you're shooting with. You get that resolution of a negative,
so with my
and you can fine tune the focus of it. It's pretty fucking awesome.
I'm curious to try my M10M to digitize my black and white negatives.
Yeah, I never heard of that. Come on, guys. You guys are making me spend money. I don't even have it. Come on, enough. This is the worst podcast ever. I'm going to be even more broke after this.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what we do. Yeah. Everyone leaves wanting to buy something else, but
That's it, man.
I mean, Daniel and I, if we lived closer, we would just pool some of this stuff because there's no need for me to own, like between us, like we could have like a little library of gear.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
I have a question I'm debating. So I'm moving into this. I just did some work. We made a new office off our bedroom. And I'm thinking about, how do you store your cameras? Because I hate storing them in bags. If I leave them out, and I go to them all the time, and then Adam sent me a link for like a temperature controlled wine refrigerator type of thing.
Yeah. So I had one on a loan just to write a review. I never wrote a review on it. I never ended up buying it. Right now, man, they sit on a shelf in an equipment room. I take them out of my bags. Usually I'll grab like the Q2 and I'll bring it with me everywhere. Or, I'll grab the SL2 every once in a while. But for the most part, they sit on a shelf in my equipment room and that's it. But yeah, those.
It's pointless.
No. Yeah. It is.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to say I'm going to keep this somewhere for 20 years.
Yeah, it's to me. I mean, I take them out so much. It's like, I don't know what's the point. I'd rather just stick it on the shelf.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have all some old collectibles. I mean, they're not valuable, but that I have out. But the ones I use, I want to have them out because I walk out, I take a rollie. I walk out, I want to switch cameras.
It's the same with me.
Hey, I walk out, I take a rollie.
I walk out, I take a rollie.
I got a contacts in this hand and a rollie in that hand, and hey, I can juggle with my Leica.
It's. I mean, every time I leave here, I'm like, what do I want to bring home today? In case I don't come back for a couple of days. Sometimes I grab a drone. Most of the time it's the Q2, but yeah, it's.
What did I sell? Oh yeah, I just sold my Q2 for basically
$1 million
and 3514, the FLE. Which
that was the last piece of gear I sold was the 35.
That's a nice lens.
It is. It definitely is.
Do you do much drone stuff?
Non-professionally.
Right.
So my 6-year-old rides a quad.
Oh, cool.
He wants to get into racing, so I use it to take videos of him riding his quad. That's it.
Fun. Follow stuff.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'm not that good at it. I crash it every time, so probably
I feel like
so you're not taking it to ceremony.
I have, and then I realized that the last time I flew it, I crashed into a tree. So
you got some nice drone shots on your website.
Yeah, I've taken a few. I mean,
they're very pretty. Are you shooting with the one with the Hasselblad sensor?
No, I don't. I have the original Pro, and then I would love to get the newer one, but yeah, I can't justify.
That's cool. I love the Pine Barrens
for your studio. Do you have an in-house editor or?
Yeah, we have an in-house editor. She also does all of our album design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we lucked out with that. She actually lives less than a mile away from us.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's sweet.
Yeah, worked out good.
I like your I mean, I hate to say this, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I really like your presets. I mean, they actually look like they do something.
The funny thing is, I haven't had any time to market them. They've done a decent job of selling themselves, but I don't ever market them.
Half the time, you see somebody like, oh, check out my presets.
And Adam's very skeptical on presets.
Look, I understand what presets are for photographers. It's a good way to kind of supplement income. And, if they work, people get a huge head start. Even if they use it as a starting point for an edit, to go from, because a lot of people just don't have editing knowledge or skills. And I'm always learning and changing and perfecting it. But I like what they do to your photos, man. It looks really cool. Just it gives it more grit, more character, but they still have kind of, a life to them. So
Adam will sell them for you.
One of these days, I'll actually start to market them and put some time into it.
I've been thinking about doing the preset thing for a while. Probably longer than I should have done
10
it,
years,
but
right? 10 years.
yeah, whatever.
It was probably, honestly, it was, I started, I mean, I probably spent 8 years, getting them to where they are. And, it was everybody saying, you should sell those, you should sell those. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't have time. And then I finally did it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll have time to do this. I put the page together. I think I put up like one promoted post. I've started a Facebook group. I posted like twice. I mean, if anything, anybody who bought them, if they're, they love them, but
Right.
It's just, I don't market them.
No, that's all right. I just, I'm kind of familiarizing myself with your work, and it's nice. It's real cohesive, and then I saw like you had these presets here, and I'm like, let me check these out, and it really does. It's like huge transformation. What's going on with these things in a good way? It's not. It's adding a lot of flavor and character, and I'm sure that as far as you're concerned, it's it's your style.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like you've shot these images, so you know how to make them look, your style.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I mean, the funniest thing is, and they, they're not for everybody. A lot of people won't like that look. If, you go on your website and you see where your traffic's coming from and you see where the referrals are, and any reviews I've written, like the Q2 review or the SL review, and I'll see them shared on different Leica forums or, different camera forums like Fred Miranda. And it's always, yeah, the pictures are good, but this guy's editing is garbage. This guy's editing is shit. Like, if he can only edit, it'd be a decent photographer. I mean, it's hilarious reading all the different negative comments I get on my editing. But,
well, look, I'll be honest with you, you have a very distinct, and I wouldn't say that aggressive, I would just say very prevalent look. I mean, it's not subtle, if I would say that.
no.
And I think that if you're going to be, you know what, let me actually start again. Your editing has a very bold look.
Yeah.
There's a statement there, and it's cohesive. It's not like you're like, oh, I'll put this on this thing, but I'm not. Even your black and whites have that kind of bold look, high contrast, deep blacks, muted colors. Like there's a whole vibe to it. There's like almost like a tint going on. There's a lot of things at play here, and I think that is not for everyone. But I think that as a photographer, the only way to differentiate yourself in this kind of overly flooded market is to have a distinct look to your photos.
You can't try to please everyone. You have to.
No, and that was the thing. It's, it bothered me at first, and then it was.
Yeah. Who cares?
It's almost a good thing, Hey, if some people hate it,
at least there's a conversation.
Exactly, and you know what? If some people love it, some people hate it. I'm good with it.
You love it. That's all that.
Right. My clients love it.
Yeah.
My clients aren't going to hire me if they don't like the editing style.
Dude, if your clients didn't dig your editing, you wouldn't have this massive successful business, so, whatever.
That's why, I love reading. If anything, I get a kick out of it. I love reading those comments.
The problem is with haters, and there's so many online, it's just, they're jealous, and like, and I just feel like with those people, it's like, just do your own thing. And then, have your own thing speak for itself. But for you just to blanketly start hating on my shit just because I'm doing good at it is stupid. You're not putting your work out there to make people feel less than. You're not putting it out there to make feel. You're sharing. You're even saying, like, if you want to edit these, like, you can have my freaking presets.
Right.
So,
I'm not hiding it.
I'm handing them to you.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can you can get the exact look. And you know what? If you hate it, then don't buy them.
Who cares?
I think the funniest trolling I've seen with me was I did a promo video for the SL2, and during the video, they sent a videographer out. Did I lose you?
No.
All right, they sent a videographer out, and midway through the shoot, it was getting colder. It was in the winter, so I had a backwards baseball cap on, and then I put like a hat like this on, and I went onto a Leica forum, and the amount of comments that were posted about me switching hats was hilarious.
And then Reddit.
Reddit, I got tore apart on Reddit because it was like, why won't this guy just pick a hat? And it's like, you asshole. The videographer cut the film up, you dumbass. And yeah, it got colder throughout the day. I switched hats. Who gives a shit? And it was like at least 10 comments busting my balls about which hat I wore. And I was like, this is amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I loved it, man.
Yeah, well, what can you do, dude? I mean, you know,
yeah,
I mean, I get that shit. You know, I have a little YouTube channel, and I don't even engage. You know, I just delete them or block them. I'm like, you know what? It's not worth my time, my energy. Nothing. I don't even want to give you the satisfaction of even like acknowledging this. You're gone. I don't, you know, go away.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if somebody wants to have a reasonable discourse, I'm up for it. You know, and I love connecting online. Like, I encourage people to reach out to me, and I will get back to you. I'm not like, you know, I've like, even just meeting you now, like, you know, today, like, what a fucking treat. You know, like, this is awesome connecting with other like-minded photographers.
I'm the same way, man.
I feel that way about even photographers that are starting out. It's like, I'm not better than you. I've just been doing it longer. You know,
but it's also such a nice community, and I've never felt that more than during this time when. Adam and I just, you know, decided, why don't we try doing this and see who we can get to chat with us. I was driving in the car and I gave my wife my phone. I was like, can you message this guy? And I told her, you know, I dictated the text, and whatever, an hour later you responded, and we're here chatting, and we have so much in common. And that's really been a big plus that's come out of this whole situation of not working and everyone having some time to
no doubt, no doubt.
take a longer than needed breath. But
yep.
And we really do appreciate you taking the time, because
no, I mean, like I told you, I mean, it was like 3 weeks ago. It was like I was burnt out from Zoom calls. I was doing a few things for Leica with interviews and then all of a sudden it went away, and then it was like, wow, I'm bored as shit. I don't got anything going on. And so when you reached out to me, it was like, all right, awesome. You know, I haven't met either one of you guys. We had a lot in common, and it was like, you know, thank you. You know, so still, you know, I really appreciate you guys bringing me on.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Hey, look, I feel like this is the beginning. We'll definitely keep in touch for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
You can hit me up at any time, you know, whatever, Instagram, text, Facebook, whatever, with that monochrome shit. I'd love to see what you get up to with that thing, or if you just want to talk about it.
No, trust me. I'll let you guys know tomorrow.
I'm around. Yeah. You're gonna be like, oh man, why did it take me so long?
I might need a place to stay tomorrow night. So
yeah. Well, there's a cat that's moved into my barn, so if you don't mind cats, you know, you guys could snap
well, that's right up my alley. So yeah.
And I'll send you some M6 scans and some M3 scans.
Yeah, definitely do that.
If that's up.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, dude. Well, look, it's been awesome talking to you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, man. And I mean, honestly, I felt like we left so much on the table. We could do this like for days. So hopefully we can do this again. But I want to thank everybody for watching and listening to the podcast and staying on for this long. If you're still with us, that's awesome. You guys need to follow Jay as I drop a water bottle. I'm going to put all the links to your website and your Instagram. Definitely give a follow, give a look. And we're going to leave it right there. So that's it for now. Thanks. Start that again. That's it for now. Thanks again. And we'll see you soon.